Hey everyone, it's Carrie over at DoubleClick, taking you on a little adventure with us. We are taking out our camper van for the Thanksgiving weekend. We are heading down south in Arizona to Oro Valley, where we are going to be spending a few days at the Catalina campgrounds. So come along with us. This was our first time staying at this campground, and you'll see in some of the footage, we call it city camping. There was a lot of cement and a lot of amenities, so it was more like glamping than camping. But here we are just driving through the campgrounds. When we got there, our spot wasn't available yet, so we just took some side roads to look at some of the trailheads and to see what this campground had to offer. Really beautiful down there in Oro Valley. And by the time we finished looking around, our campsite was available and we were able to start getting our campsite set up. So as you can see, parking on cement, it had electric, it had water, so full amenities at this site. And of course, I always have a bag of crafting supplies with me whenever we travel. This is my travel journal, and I make sure to journal about every campsite that we visit and note all of the amenities that they have and things that we should or shouldn't be bringing the next time we go to that campsite. We also like to walk the entire campground and mark off the sites that we think are the best so that when we reserve our place next time we visit, we can pick the campsite that we like the best. And I always like to draw it out, even though I have a map, just because I really enjoy the crafting part of it as well. One of the great things about this campsite is you could walk through the campsite and end up on a trail that could take you to the back way of the trailhead. And I do a freeze frame right here. Look at that view. It was just beautiful on this trail. So this was the bridle trail, 1.4 miles one way, very flat and easy to hike. However, we met a very unpleasant friend along the way. We ran into a rattlesnake. I heard it first and I was able to move my dog away from the area, and thank goodness no one was harmed. And here we are just taking a stroll around the campsite, checking things out. The campsite had an A loop and a B loop. It was quiet and it was clean. The campsite was completely full. We were able to reserve the last spot available on the first night, and then the second night we had to relocate to a different site because we also were able to get the last site on the second night, but it was at a different site. So we did have to move the second night, which was fine. We actually liked the second one better because we were able to set up a hammock at the second location. But yeah, so as you can see here, this would have been a great place for us to bring our bicycles to ride around the campground, but we didn't have them this time, so I did make a note to next time to bring our bikes. Um, our dog loved this site. He had a lot of thorns and thickers on him from him sticking his nose where it didn't belong. Because as you can see, a lot of that side is dry, rough brush, a lot of cactus, and a thorny foliage out at this one. But like I said, we really did enjoy this one. It had a lot of amenities, so if you're not used to camping, this definitely is a campsite you would want to go to. And don't worry, I checked to make sure that there was no one in this restroom facility when I did this film, but I just wanted to show you how clean these facilities were. They had hot showers and flushable toilets, which is not common in a lot of the campgrounds. So just a quick tour so you could see this really great amenity. This campsite has 120 campsites available. They do have a small selection that are non-electric, non-water, and I believe they're like $20 a night, and the full service sites are $30 a night. But we really enjoy walking around the campsite, not just because we have a dog that just loves to walk, but we really enjoy looking at other people's campers and vans and seeing how they have their camp set up. And because we know that we have to move tomorrow to the other campsite, we kept this one set up very simple with just our camping chairs, and we know that we're going to be using our fire pit later on that night. So keeping it simple because we know we're going to have to pack it up and move it tomorrow. I know a lot of people like to cook their meals over a campfire or at their campsite. However, today was Thanksgiving, and so what we decided to do was pre-cook our Thanksgiving meal at home the day before we arrived at camp, and then we were able just to heat up our meal and enjoy it at the campsite, especially because we arrived that day. And so cooking a full meal for Thanksgiving didn't seem realistic. So here we are just heating up some mashed potatoes and some gravy, and my husband cooked the stuffing inside the camper. And now we're just putting it together and enjoying a Thanksgiving meal together. And we hope that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we're thankful that you're here spending some time with us. Another great amenity with this campground was they had an outdoor sink that had running hot water where you can wash your dishes, which was really convenient. We do have a sink in our camper van, and we could easily wash the dishes in there, but that does fill up the black tanks. And if this is being offered by someone else and you don't have to use your own water, this is a huge benefit. I already had the cleaning supplies with me, and my dish pan is always in the camper van. And it was just nice to actually be able to do this outside. Number one, it was beautiful outside, and just do a chore that really didn't seem like a chore when you're outside in nature. So, yeah, this is just another one of those great amenities. And we're going to call it a night. I just wanted to show you what the inside of our van looks like when the bed is set up. As you can see, our Winston is already ready for bed. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick tour of that. You can see the full van tour. I'll link it up above of our camper van. And he is just ready to go this morning, and so is my husband. He was up super early brewing our coffee so that we could get the day started. We didn't want to waste a single minute today. And it was a little chilly, so we didn't want Winston to be cold, so we set him up with a fire pit, and he's very comfortable on those chairs. So let's get some breakfast started so that we can get our day going. We pre-cooked our potatoes at home, so all we had to do was heat them up here. And then my husband's scrambling up some eggs, and then we will be adding some of the pre-cooked bacon to that pan. We are planning on doing a hike today, so we wanted to eat early so we could get out there before it gets too warm out. It was still already, it was in the high 70s by the afternoon, so we wanted to be up nice and early to do those hikes. And here is a snapshot of our delicious breakfast to help get our day going.
Let's go, boo.
After our breakfast, we headed out to do the Romero Ruins Trail. And this was a really nice loop trail, 3/4 of a mile. It had sand at the beginning, stairs going up, and then just a lot of desert landscape. I'm just going to read a quick information that they provided about the trail. It says the Romero Ruin is an archaeological site that includes the remains of a Hohokam village dating back to about 500 AD. The trail is an easy 3/4 of a mile loop through the remaining surface features. Trailside signs address the archaeology of the site as well as the Hohokam culture. The trail crosses a wash, so seasonal stream flow might result in wet feet. Plan on about 30-minute walking time. And yeah, I think it really only took us about 30 minutes, and we did go along and read all of the signs about the ruins, and it really was a very informational trail to go on. We then decided to catch the birding trail, which was an easy 1 mile loop. It took us about 40 minutes. This trail primarily shows you the different types of bird species that frequent the area. So they had some signs and information about that along this trail, but it was very similar to the other loop, as you can see by the train that we were hiking through. And this was the morning that we had to move our camper into a new campsite. So we took the opportunity to see what was outside of the campground area and then headed back to our new campsite. And just so you know, right outside of this campground is a huge Walmart, restaurants. So if you ever needed anything or you just are like, I cannot do this, you could just hop right across the street and there's full civilization going on. And here we are at our new campsite. We really did like this one better because we were able to hang up one of our hammocks, and we are very lucky. Our dog is willing to sit in chairs, lay in hammocks, jump in a backpack. He knows the drill. If he wants to have some fun, he's just got to roll with us, and he is more than happy to do that. We are going to be making one of our freeze-dried meals. So we freeze dry a lot of our own food, and tonight we're going to be trying the chicken and rice. And so how to make this, we're going to be boiling water, and
normally it's just 20 ounces of water, but we're going to live on the edge today and do 10 ounces of water and 10 ounces of chicken broth. Whisper Light Universal. She's running.
so we have freeze-dried rice, chicken, peas, and corn. Looks good. We'll see. full disclosure on this one, I actually did not enjoy this meal. My husband did. We are very new to freeze drying, and we are still making and testing the foods to see what we like and what we don't like. And this was one of the last hikes that we did before we headed home that day. This is called the Canyon Loop Trail. It's 2.3 miles. It was a very easy trail. And I'm just going to read what they wrote about it. It says this is an easy 2.3-mile loop through the foothills that begins at the trailhead parking lot. Loop is created by a link connecting the Romero Canyon Trail and the Sutherland Trail. Canyon Loop Trail crosses a wash several times, so seasonal stream flow might result in wet feet. The trail is relatively flat, but about halfway around there is a slope with about 90 stair steps. There is a bypass trail around the steps for horses. It's about 60 minutes walking time to complete the loop. So this actually was one of my favorite hikes. It was longer. The other ones were all like a mile to a mile, 1.4 miles. It started out, if you saw that really thick sandy area that we walked through, that's where the seasonal wash will run through, but it was dry on that side when we started our hike. And I think I accidentally, when I was filming, had this on slow-mo, so that's why some of the video looks like it's on slow motion. I did speed it up, but hopefully it'll go back to normal here in a bit. So once you make your way around the loop, you do get to some stairs that take you down the canyon, and where it's really nice and shady. It's different terrain, and there was some water, not necessarily running through it, but there was some water down there. Unfortunately, I had a camera malfunction and I wasn't able to get some of the canyon shots on the other side of this canyon loop trail. Here is just a quick shot of what the water looked like on the other side of the mountain. And once we got back to the trailhead, they were setting up their wildlife exhibit. And it says that they have a crew of volunteers that delight visitors at the trailhead with a display of animals who inhabit the Sonora Desert. And here I am just making my way back to my camper van, and my husband has the back doors open. He is giving the dog a quick shower because he was covered in that red water. And before we hit the road to head home, we take one last slow drive through the campground, and this is where we mark off our 5-star sites so that in the future we can try and pick the ones that we want to stay at in the future. And that concludes our trip down at Catalina State Park. It's actually in Tucson, Arizona, but it's closest to Oro Valley. And we are just making our way home. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've never done anything like this before. I am a crafter at heart, but camping and hiking is right up there with crafting. So thanks for joining us on this adventure, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.